Hello everyone, Darren Rawlings for Emerging Civil War. We're doing a special little video series for you that we're calling ECW Authors Get Illustrated. Over the last half a year or so, several of our authors, contributors and good friends have contributed volumes to a series published by Casemate Publishing in cooperation with Savas Beatie, and the series is called Casemates Illustrated. And joining me at this time is Kevin Pawlak. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you very much for having me.
And first, can you just start by telling us what is the title of your Casemates Illustrated book, Kevin?
Yes, absolutely. It is Such a Clash of Arms, the Maryland Campaign, 1862. So, of course, it focuses on the entire Maryland campaign of September 1862 in short snippets or short detail, I guess. But I'd like to think goes into a good bit of detail as well, covering the whole Maryland campaign and trying to cover a lot of different aspects of the campaign, because I'm sure many of you are aware there's different political and social and military considerations to consider when thinking about the Maryland campaign itself.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. And firstly, a question is how did you first become involved in this project?
So Ted Savas reached out to me. He was working as an agent with Casemate Illustrated to find authors to complete these books for doing different studies of military campaigns during the Civil War. And so he reached out to me about publishing a Maryland campaign study. And I had already done some work with Ted on the Maryland campaign, so I kind of had to refine some things that I had previously written and put some new things to paper, which was a lot of fun to do, and get some new pictures and whatnot. So it was really a great project to be able to do, and I was really pleased with how the book turned out.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question as well. I mean, you sort of answered it there a little bit, but what new sources, archives, or methods did you explore to bring a bit more of a fresh perspective to this narrative?
So because it is a smaller volume or a slimmer volume, it doesn't have necessarily any new resources that are anything of note, but I kind of wrote the book to be, for me even, as if, when I go back and give tours of Antietam or any of the sites of the Maryland campaign, that I can go back to my own book and read it to prepare me for giving a tour. So I like to think for people who have read the book, it was written as if you're sitting down in your couch, on your chair, reading chair, whatever you might, wherever you might enjoy to read, listening to me give a tour of the Maryland campaign itself. So that's how I wrote it. There were a few new things. I did have some different interpretations about the Maryland campaign. For example, rather than dividing the Battle of Antietam into three phases, which I think is a long overdue change that needs to be made to the interpretation of the battle, I sort of divided up into north and south segments of the battlefield itself. So if you're familiar with the Antietam battlefield, basically from everything, the observation tower north is the northern section of the Antietam battlefield, and from everything, the observation tower south, so covering the fighting around the Middle Bridge, Burnside Bridge, and final attack. That is Antietam south, if you will. The other thing I did when writing this book that I'd like to think was at least unique, when you think about the Maryland campaign, read a lot of books about the Maryland campaign, Harper's Ferry and South Mountain are written as two different chapters in essence. And what I did was combine the two into one chapter, because the more and more that I've studied the Maryland campaign over the years, I've really come to realize that those two battles are almost the same operation. Well, they're not almost, they are the same operation. And to try to blend the two together, that, what's happening at South Mountain is going to impact what happens at Harper's Ferry, and in a lot of ways, vice versa. So bridging the two of those together to really put them together chronologically in the same chapter, in the same text, with how those two play out, really helped me understand what happened during those important days of the Maryland campaign.
hmm And can you tell everyone what was your favourite part about writing and putting this project together?
I think my favorite part was, again, writing the book as if it was me giving a tour. So I really, I've given many tours of Maryland campaign sites, but not I never really put it into words. And I think once you put it down onto paper, it really helps me at least solidify in my mind my different interpretations, different things that I say. Does this really make sense with, my interpretations of how events took place. So it was really nice for me to be able to put that down on paper and play around with different ways about writing about the Maryland campaign. I've done a tour book about the Maryland campaign, a couple books looking at different aspects of the campaign itself, but it was really cool to look at the entire campaign holistically and look at the whole campaign from the time Lee's army crosses the Potomac River in early September 1862 to the time they recross the Potomac River a couple of weeks later, and really just show the breadth of the campaign. And even though it was a campaign that lasted just a couple of weeks, there were a lot of moving parts to it. And so to put it together into one book was really helpful for me, and I hope, again, helpful for people that have picked up copies of the book to read it.
Thank you, Kevin. And so, on a personal level, last question, what was it like for you to not just be part of this project, but actually, you getting to see your name on this famous Casemates Illustrated book? What's it like for you personally?
It was really cool. I mean, when Ted reached out to me, it was almost an immediate yes about doing this project. I had been familiar with a lot of Casemates books that they had put together before, and to see my name in a series that features authors like Dave Powell and Jim Hessler as well is just really, really cool. I mean, those are historians that I've read a lot of their works and looked up to in many ways for a long time. So it was just really cool to be a part of the series. And again, I think the book turned out absolutely beautifully. It's probably one of the favorite books of mine that I've written. And I just always love picking it up and taking a look at it. It's, color pages, glossy pages. It just turned out beautifully.
Okay, everyone. Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate you coming on today. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
And of course, if you want to get hold of a copy of Kevin's book or any of the other books in that series, The Civil War, and of course Kevin's book, Such a Clash of Arms, The Maryland Campaign, September 1862, is available at www.casematepublishers.com. And all that is left to say is we'll see you online and on the battlefield.